Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. It's Saturday. What does that mean? That's right. You get the recap of all of the big stories throughout the week, all in one convenient location. Enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Crime Talk. Barry Morphew, finally, months later, the 131-page affidavit for the arrest warrant has been released. Now, I was able to quickly go through this, and I mean quickly go through this, and it is just as I suspected. Basically, the police did a quick summary of everything they did and threw it in there, hoping for probable cause to be found. Well, certainly probable cause has been found. However, the court did not find proof evident presumption great. What does that mean? Basically, that means is that the prosecution had to present evidence that was so overwhelming of Barry Morphew's guilt that he should be held without a bond. Although the court found probable cause and explained that it is a very low standard of proof, all the evidence must be viewed in the light most favorable to the prosecution, which he must do, and he found that there was sufficient evidence for the case to go forward. However, he did say the evidence was not overwhelming. Hate to say it, but who was saying that all along? That's right, this guy. It was not overwhelming. It was enough for the case to go forward. And the court said that they were going to grant a bond. I said the bond would be somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. That's right. The judge set the bond $500,000 cash only. Why would he set a cash bond? Because the court figured Barry Morphew couldn't make it. Well, ta-da! Take a look at this. As early as today, Barry Morphew is meeting his daughters at the jail. That's right. He is free on bond. They posted $500,000 for his release, and he's driving away in the backseat of a pickup. It'll be curious to see where he stays and what other resources he has to continue paying his attorneys and the investigators and the expert witnesses that are going to need. At the end of the day, if he is found not guilty, he will get his money back, obviously. And if he's found guilty, that money will be used to pay any court costs, any things of that nature, and then the balance returned to the people that posted the bond. Be curious to see if we can get that information to see who actually posted it. $500,000 cash only. I will go through this in painstaking detail and tell you by tomorrow, as well as for our live show, what is relevant and what is not. But 131 pages and they couldn't get proof evident presumption great. Doesn't look great for the prosecution. All right, let's get straight to the docket. Obviously, the Gabby Petito matter. Well, a National Park Service ranger who responded to a domestic violence incident between Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito in Utah last month warned the woman that her relationship with Laundrie seemed toxic. Melissa Hulls, the Visitor and Resource Protection Supervisor at Arches National Park, said that she was probably more candid with her than I should have been. Now, by the time Hulls responded that day, Petito, 22, was sobbing in the back of a police cruiser, and the ranger approached her knowing that the Long Island native might be more comfortable speaking with a woman during the emotional ordeal. Now, Hulls was imploring with Gabby to reevaluate the relationship and asking if she was happy being in a relationship with Laundrie. She even said that this was an opportunity for Gabby to find another path and to make a change in her life. Now, police responded after a 911 caller reported seeing a man slapping a woman in the face. According to the new audio obtained, the audio contradicts a police report that portrayed Petito as the aggressor, stating at one point that she began slapping him after he told her to take a walk to calm down. Police body cam footage of the incident has been released by the Moab City Police Department. Now, Halls was also wearing a body camera, but said she has not looked over that particular footage. And she says, it's hard not to second guess myself, and I wish I had said more or wish I had found the right words to make her believe that she deserved more. In other Gabby Petito news, a search warrant issued last week shows that authorities in Northport, Florida, obtained a hard drive from a computer that was found in Petito's vehicle 4 days after she was reported missing. The warrant authorizes investigators to withdraw possible evidence from the hard drive, including digital forensics, passwords, and records of online communications. Now, new documents present a new account of Petito's last communication with her parents. It was previously reported that Petito received a text message from Petito on August 30th that read, "No service in Yosemite," which raised eyebrows since Yosemite is in California and Gabby was supposed to be in the national park in Wyoming. Gabby's mother, Nicole Schmidt, previously told authorities that she thought this text might not have been sent by her daughter. These newly released documents show a text message Petito sent to her mother on August 27th in reference to a man believed to be Petito's grandfather. The message read, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." Petito's mother was concerned something was wrong with her daughter since she never refers to her grandfather as Stan. Meanwhile, back at the Laundrie house in Florida, FBI agents spent most of yesterday executing a search warrant regarding the search of the home in connection with Gabby Petito. Initially, the FBI escorted the parents out of the house and into a van parked in the front yard. After about an hour, the couple was allowed back into their home. The FBI also towed Brian Laundrie's Ford Mustang from the property Monday afternoon. Christopher and Roberta Laundrie told detectives on Friday that their son had left the house to go hiking 3 days earlier, and they hadn't heard from him since. Well, search teams have been searching the Carlton Reserve all day on Saturday and Sunday, but on Monday said they'd exhausted all avenues and would not return to the reserve. They were still searching for Laundrie, according to the police. On Tuesday, Northport police spokesperson Josh Taylor said in an email statement that investigators were returning to the Carlton Reserve to resume the search for Laundrie. In the email statement, Taylor warned teams, saying this is a dangerous work environment for the search crews as they are wading through gator and snake-infested swamps and flooded hiking and biking trails. The Northport police tweeted pictures this morning of police vehicles and drones searching the reserves with the caption, "By land, by air." Now, the Laundrie family attorney had scheduled a press conference for today, but has since canceled, giving no reason as to why. Also today, a medical examiner is scheduled to perform an autopsy on the human remains found in Wyoming on Sunday. The autopsy is expected to provide a positive identification and information about the cause and manner of death. Obviously, everyone believes these are the remains of Gabby Petito. We will keep you apprised of any new developments. We'll see if old Brian Laundrie harmed himself, or did maybe his parents give him a head start with the authorities. Let me know in the comments what you think. No Brian Laundrie. He hasn't been located, but new information is coming about as we speak. Literally, a couple that was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for a wedding, when they say that they witnessed Brian Laundrie arguing with waitstaff at the Mary Piglet's restaurant on August 27th, hours before it's believed that Gabby Petito is believed to have vanished. So Nina Celia Angelo and Matthew England, who are from Louisiana, were in Jackson Hole for a wedding. They go to this restaurant, the Mary Piglet restaurant, and apparently Brian Laundrie is witnessed by the two of them getting very aggressive with the waitstaff there that particular day. There was no argument or yelling, apparently, in the sense of he wasn't shouting at her, but he was getting very aggressive, according to Miss Angelo's statements. And what is more interesting is that Gabby Petito apparently came in and actually apologized for Brian Laundrie's actions there in the restaurant that day. I think as more information is coming clear, Brian Laundrie certainly has some anger issues and maybe some impulse control issues if he's shooting off with the wait staff at the restaurant. Imagine what he does to people he knows and believes that he can intimidate versus just basically a stranger who maybe he's not happy with the food or the price. In additional news as it relates to the Gabby Petito matter, the family lawyer for the Petitos sent a cease and desist letter to Brian Laundrie's lawyer. Apparently the Petitos were upset because the lawyer's website, the lawyer representing Brian Laundrie, somebody put up a photo of Gabby Petito on his Yelp page, which he has no control over, has not advertised, according to him, on online or social media in any way, and certainly wouldn't use her photograph to drum up business. He thought that it was sick, and actually Yelp has taken the entire site down because of the amount of traffic that had gone to this particular site. I have to believe the lawyer for Brian Laundrie in this particular situation. I don't think that he would drum up business, and he certainly wouldn't do it by being by putting up a photograph of Gabby Petito on his Yelp page. So no harm, no foul. I get how the family would be upset, but that is really what it's nothing in this particular case. And there's a lot of news regarding Gabby Petito. Now the FBI is asking for the public's help in trying to find Brian Laundrie, who has eluded authorities since returning to Florida without Petito back as early as September 1st. The search of Laundrie was set to resume today at the nature reserve as new tips emerged about previous movements. The sheriff's office said Tuesday that it's investigating a report that a man matching the description of Brian Laundrie was captured on a trail camera walking on a property in the Florida Panhandle area. Now, this individual was purportedly spotted on September 20th on an automatic wildlife camera in Baker, Florida, which is more than 500 miles northwest of where authorities have focused their search on Laundrie. The sheriff is doing their due diligence in response to this report and is wrapping up an extensive search that took place in this area to include the nearby farmlands. No one and nothing of note was located. The individual referenced in the video below has no known ties to Okaloosa County area that was in this Facebook post that got everybody all in a flurry that maybe he was some 500 miles away. The man that was featured in a blurry image from the trail camera of a man walking with a backpack. The image was initially posted on a Facebook by a local resident by the name of San Bass, who wrote, "I'm not saying this is the guy, but whoever was on my trail camera this morning in Bakers, Florida, strongly fits the description of Brian Laundrie." Bass wrote that authorities have been contacted and advised the Northwest Florida residents to be on the lookout. No evidence that that was in fact him. The search for Laundrie is centered around the Northport, Florida area, where investigators say Laundrie returned to his home on September 1st, and ultimately, when he became a person of interest, decided to take a little walkabout through the nature preserve. Whether he's there or not, we're not really sure. A dive team has been called in, but it's not known whether this is just routine procedure or whether they have found something of interest. I personally think that Mr. Laundrie got a several-day head start with the assistance of his parents, and he is on his way somewhere where he will not be found. And yet, in more Gabby Petito news, a second witness has corroborated a domestic dispute between Gabby and Brian Laundrie in Moab, Utah. The police department released a report from a second witness claiming he saw Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie engaging in a domestic dispute in Moab on August 12th. The witness told police he observed a man and a woman, later identified as Petito and Laundrie, arguing over a cell phone at about 4:30 in the afternoon outside of a grocery store in Moab, according to the police report. According to the report, they were talking aggressively at each other, and something seemed off to the witness. At one point, they were sort of fighting over a phone. I think the male took the female's phone. It appeared that he didn't want her in the white van. He got into the driver's seat and she followed him. At one point, she was punching him in the arm and or face trying to get into the van. The witness stated this in the police report. Now, according to the statement, the witness said the woman eventually climbed over the driver to get into the passenger seat and that she was overheard saying, "Why do you have to be so mean?" I wasn't sure how serious this was. It was hard to tell if it was sort of play fighting, but from the witness's point of view, something definitely didn't seem right. It was as if the guy was trying to leave her and maybe take the phone. Now, the family of Gabby Petito is making arrangements to bring her remains home to her native New York for a funeral. All right, next on the docket, a motion for clarification was filed in the Laundrie Vallow and Chad Daybell homicide case the other day, and there was a hearing held on it yesterday. And we had this entire video up, and you can watch it. But here's what the issue is, very plain and simple. Laundrie Vallow and Chad Daybell were indicted in the same indictment alleging all of the counts relating to the death of JJ Tylee as well as Tammy Daybell. And of course, you don't forget the insurance fraud. Needless to say, we all know that Laundrie Vallow is down at the state hospital basically trying to be restored to competency. It doesn't appear as though that is going to be a fast process. So what the state is basically saying is that since Laundrie Vallow and the case has been stayed as it relates to her, that the entire case as it relates to Chad Daybell should be stayed as well. And the court has basically rejected this argument. The people made their argument yesterday in a some 17-page motion, which really was trying to argue a lot of federal law, saying, hey, speedy trial kind of comes into play in a multi-co-defendant case, and it doesn't really begin until we have all the players on board. Well, the judge says, I understand that, but you have to understand, I cannot indefinitely hold Chad Daybell's case up while we wait for Laundrie Vallow to be restored to competency, if she ever is. You have to remember, Chad Daybell is in custody. Maybe if the state wants to give him a personal recognizance bond, then they may have a better argument. But this is the problem that the state created, and the state is going to have to deal with it. The reality of it is, and the prosecutor states this in their motion, specifically on page 12, basically that it's going to be really prejudicial to the state to have two sets of hearings. And guess what? There may be some evidence that we may not be able to bring in against one defendant that we would like to be able to bring in against both defendants if they're both sitting there. Well, that's what happens. You know, what happens if Laundrie Vallow had been released and disappeared, right? The case would still have to go on. And then, of course, the state is saying, hey, we really don't want to do this again because we'd have to do everything twice. And that may give, well, Laundrie Vallow's attorneys a better bite at that apple in this case. And we don't want to have to do it twice. It's inconvenient. It's going to be expensive as we have to bring in all our experts and everything twice. And basically the judge was like, okay, I've heard your argument, but this man, referring to Chad Daybell, has a constitutional right to a speedy trial. Yes, he waived his right to a speedy trial for a 6-month period, but that is not an indefinite waiver, particularly when somebody is in custody. And I have said this all along. If you go back and look at our previous videos, Chad Daybell should absolutely be demanding his right to a speedy trial. Why? Because his defense has always been and is going to be is that Laundrie Vallow is crazy. That's right. And in a co-conspirator case, you want to be able to point the finger at somebody other than yourself, particularly Laundrie Vallow, and say that he was duped. And guess what? His argument may be getting a little better. Why? Because apparently Laundrie Vallow duped everybody because she is not competent to proceed. So what I have said early on was that the defense would be, hey, I got played by this lady. I had nothing to do with the disappearance or deaths of JJ or Tylee. It was Laundrie Vallow and her brother, who was probably crazy too. That's the defense. It's going to be that simple. And the fact that she is in fact crazy certainly helps Chad Daybell a lot. Now remember, Mark Means originally wanted to have a joint trial, even though John Pryor, on behalf of Chad Daybell, objected to having a joint trial for obvious reasons. Now that Mr. Archibald, the new attorney for Lori Vallow, is on board, he may say, we don't want to be joined with Chad Daybell either, because our defense is going to be that Chad Daybell is the master manipulator of this cult-like organization that we were in, and he obviously made me crazy, and if I did anything, I was crazy, but he's the one that's responsible. Bottom line, that's where it is. The prosecution created this mess by indicting them the way they did. Now they're going to have to live with it. I don't see the judge changing his mind. He has to respect the constitutional rights and a speedy trial right that is owed to Chad Daybell. It's time for the prosecutors to put on their prosecutor pants and go try the case. And if they've got to do it one time or two times, guess what? By the second time, you've already had a dry run at it. You're going to be even better. So embrace what you have to do. Don't worry about it. Go embrace the suck and just get it done. All right. Next on the docket, Brian Laundrie is still hanging low. While the search for Brian Laundrie continues, sources are reporting he left on his little walkabout, encouraged by his family, without his wallet and cell phone. That's right. He departed his home nearly 10 days ago as of today, September 24th of 2020. Now, Brian Laundrie, assuming he has not hurt himself, may want to pick up the pace of wherever he's going, because the United States Attorney obtained an arrest warrant for young Mr. Laundrie. The warrant is not for the death of Gabby Petito. No, the warrant is for a violation of 18 United States Code Section 1029A1, use of unauthorized access devices. And this was the U.S. Code cited in the FBI's press release. However, the statute in the indictment alleges to have violated 18 United States Code Section 1029A2C1A Roman numeral I, which states, whoever knowingly and with the intent to defraud traffics in or uses one or more unauthorized access devices during any 1 year period, and by such conduct obtains anything of value aggregating $1,000 or more during the period. Now, the penalties under subsection C1 state that the punishment for an offense under this subsection A of this section is, in the case of an offense that does not occur after a conviction for another offense under this section, then you look to Roman numeral I, if the offense is under paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, or 10, or subsection A fine under this title, or imprisonment for the amount of not more than 10 years or both. Now, the feds are seeking detention, which means no bond in the federal system, of Mr. Laundrie once and if he is arrested. The feds are stating that he is a flight risk, as a risk of obstruction of justice. And then it begs the question, when you go back to the statute, what is an unauthorized access device? Well, they have a statute for that, and the definition includes the term unauthorized access device means any access device that is lost, stolen, expired, revoked, canceled, or obtained with intent to defraud. What does that really mean? It could be a credit card. It could be using some sort of a device to access a bank account. Now, the court has also granted that the indictment be sealed, which is a little late because a copy of the indictment has already been released. Now, there's a law firm in Seattle, Washington, that's offering a $20,000 reward for the information leading to the arrest of Brian Laundrie. Tips aren't enough. Laundrie must actually be arrested to collect the money. Now, the law firm's donation, is it a publicity stunt or a sincere gesture to help locate Brian Laundrie? Let me know what you think. Now, listen, if someone has information about the location of Brian Laundrie, they need to call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, or they can call the local Denver office at 303-629-7171. And finally, Gabriella Petito will be laid to rest on Sunday in her native Long Island. The memorial will take place at Maloney's Funeral Home in Holbrook, New York on Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m., and the funeral is open to the public. All right. Do you think Brian Laundrie will show up to his former fiance's funeral? Yeah, I don't think so either. All right. Thanks for watching. We know that there's a lot of things that you could be doing. We appreciate that you took the time to join us here on Crime Talk. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.